Welcome. Just gonna wait a little bit for everyone to see the notification. If you're hopping on, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube, say hello. Happy New Year. I do like to wait a little bit just for to kick in, and so people can see this. It will be a podcast recording as well. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Womanly Way podcast. I am your host, Lala Angela Wang. Oh my God, we are here, 2025. As I am recording this podcast, it's actually the 3rd of Jan 2025. I have to say, I'm still feeling into the vibe. I'm still getting my rests because we hosted Christmas at our place, and then my in-laws were in town. Pretty much spent Christmas and the days between Christmas entertaining. Not necessarily a bad thing, but more for me, I think it's like I feel like I needed a rest. And so I kind of started to get a little bit of rest, but we're going back to work on Monday. So that's a complete different story about rest and recuperating. And I was sitting here going, now I remember why I needed the extra week off last year. But this year is a little bit different, obviously. We're going back to Taiwan for Chinese New Year, which I'm really excited about. And that's the reason why I'm not taking any extra leave at this side of January. So today I really feel like I just want to, I have so many things. I feel like my channel has really opened up to receive a lot more in the past probably 2 months, but it's also kind of like drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot. And for me, it also meant taking a lot of time sitting back and just go, what do I want to do with this information? And how do I want to present it? How do I want to organize them? So it's in a way that it can be communicated. Part of my gift is really bringing all the channels, and then instead of just vomiting them out, organize them in a way so it become digestible for others. So for that reason, I feel like I wanted to lean back into more of a let's have a chat, have a cup of tea. It's almost like having a cup of tea and have a chat with a bunch of friends. So I recently got given this event calendar for Christmas. And so we started about 2 days ago. So I'm on day 3, and this is an event calendar for English tea shop. They're all organic tea. And day 3 is mate, cacao, and coconut. I'm drinking this really I would say I wasn't. I was like maybe cacao's gonna make it kind of chocolatey, but instead it's actually, I don't know how to describe it. It almost tastes a little bit licorice, but without the sweetness. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Um, and this really, for me, I think this really is a good segue into this term that I've heard. Um, I heard it in Cantonese, and in Mandarin it says 仪式感, meaning like treat every moment almost like a celebration, right? Ceremonial. And as I was brewing this tea and as I was preparing for this podcast, I was like, huh, what if I can be even more present and even more intentional in the everyday moment in 2025? Even down to drinking a cup of tea and looking at, the tea leaves in a bag and tasting the tea, feeling into the tea, and being in the moment. And to me, that is really the foundation of creating a joyful, peaceful, harmonious life. Is really be really, really focused in creating celebrations in everyday moments. Right. So my word this year is actually infinite. I should have many words. I had let me see. Let me check my notes. Did I put them in here? Yeah, so I had evolution, expansion, leading with compassion, and infinite as my original keywords when I set the keywords for the year on the 1st of Jan. But now that I sit with it even more, I really feel like the word is infinite. Infinite in every way, infinite in my compassion, infinite in my leadership, infinite in my evolution, infinite in my expansion. There's a couple of reasons that I choose infinite as my word. It was originally boundless, but I didn't, and you guys probably know me by now that I'm very intentional with my words. Boundless has got the word bound, and it's also got the word less. And to me, those two words kind of have a more negative connotation. Yes, when you put two negative words together, it becomes positive. But I wanted something that's bigger. Essentially, that sums up bigger than life. And so I came up with the word infinite. Infinite in all the ways. But also I did my astrology reading a couple weeks ago now. Oh, actually, almost a month ago. Um, with Melanie Vera, who's also an astrologer who's been on the show. So make sure you check out her podcast and her interview that talked about midlife crisis and how that links to astrology. I will link the episode in the show note below. But my biggest takeaway from my reading for 2025, and mind you, that starts on my birthday, so March 23rd, we've still got a while to go. But me being me, I like to do my readings at the end of the year. So I feel into the year as I go. And really, for me, my year starts on my birthday, which to me makes a lot more sense because it's springtime. And I was actually born 1 degree Mars. Sorry, 1 degree Aries. So yeah, definitely a spring baby. The first or second day of spring. I think it's the second day of spring. Um, and why am I telling you all this? Because in my reading, something it was really interesting that came up. So this year's my Jupiter year. Jupiter happens to be on my ascendant, which is Gemini, on my birthday. And if you know anything about astrology, when you have a Jupiter year, everything is bigger than life, right? And hence the word infinite. But at the same time, there are there's a multitude of planets, especially outer planets, that are coming into the party um, on my chart on my birthday as well. So it's going to be an epic year. It's going to be a year of unknown. In fact, when I tap into generally at the beginning of a year, I would tap into what I feel, sense, and see through my spiritual lens and through my mind's eye on the 31st of December. I couldn't gauge anything. And what kept coming to me is stop trying to imagine, because what is going to happen in 2025, you just cannot imagine will happen. And my guides keep reminding me of, remember 2024? Remember how you could never imagine what would have happened has all happened and you still survived, right? And 2024 is just a prelude of that. So the word infinite really, for me, as a word of the year, is continue to remind me how I love this quote: "Man's plan, man plan, God laugh," because our plan often is so minuscule in a way that the universe just look at us and go like, dream bigger, dream bigger. This is so small in the scheme of things, dream bigger. And I really feel like 2025 is one of those years for me, where even though I'm already a big dreamer, the universe is essentially saying to me, it's gonna be bigger than you think. It's gonna be bigger than you know. And we need you to step up. We need you to step up, to expand, to grow, to essentially be an open vessel to growth. And that's really scary. Really, the unknown is really scary. I was having lunch with some really close friends of mine yesterday, and we were talking about how I actually don't like change. And all of my friends are very surprised. They're like, "What? I thought I thought you love change." I'm like, "Actually, I don't." Change is, even after all these years, change is very uncomfortable to me. If I can stay at one place, I would. If I can simplify my life and have a routine and just follow the routine, I would. For me, this is the reason why I do the work. So I can find my courage every single day to be that better version of me. Because I know what happens if I don't. But also know myself well enough to know that I really don't enjoy change. So it's finding that courage every single day, finding the reason every single day to do the things, but also have that devotion towards my passion and my purpose, so that there's a greater reason for me to do what I do, get out of bed, to find the courage every single day. And that is the work. That's probably the work that I do 99% of the time. It's down to accepting a business opportunity, changing my schedule, accepting a career opportunity, instead of just sitting at a job that I'm not growing and getting bored, and be comfortable in my own poo-poo-ness, right? Because I was there 10 years ago. This year, 2015, really marks the 10-year anniversary of. So if we look back 10 years ago, 2015 was the hardest year of my life. I have just separated from my ex-husband. I was living on my own. I was suffering from depression. I was suicidal. I hated my job. I had to beg my way back to my previous company, and I was finding myself. I was reconnecting with myself. I was literally finding myself, because my life up until then, I was living probably, I would say 60% or maybe even more with a facade. And there's probably only 30% of the time I'm tapping into what I really want. But even though in the 30% of time, I don't really know what I want, because I was so programmed and conditioned by other people's expectations. And thinking back, I'm so grateful for the rare occasions where I have to make big decisions, that I still have an inner voice that's loud enough for me to hear, and the inner wisdom for me to follow. And one of that being coming to Australia, you know, going against the interventions, against the advice of people around me then, instead of pursuing the architectural career. As soon as I graduated, I decided to do a master's in construction project management. And that really opened up doors for me and opportunities that allows me to do what I do today. Um, so for me, I know that I don't want to go back to that place. I've come too far now on this journey to go back. And that really has been my main motivation every single day, to work on myself and to be better. It's like once that veil's lifted, whew, really, it's lifted, right? You can't unsee it. Once you decided to take the red pill, there's no going back. That's like what I said to my friends yesterday. I'm like, I innately, I hate change. But I also know, but number one, the universe continues to push me along that way because they wanted me to be better. They know what my greater purpose is. And they're just like, no, you're not doing this again. Right? We want to make sure that you do what you are meant to do in this lifetime. Because I've chickened out too many times in the past. And so I know that I've just got to do it. I've just got to do it. I was actually listening to a podcast episode from Rachel Hollis. I just love her episodes because she's so real and she always gives me new inspirations. And she talked about fear and, what's holding us back. Who are we holding ourselves back for? Are we holding ourselves back for our family? Are we holding ourselves back for our friends? Are we holding us back for our spouse? And for me, a lot of times I feel like I can no longer blame it on external programmings and conditionings. And it's really now I'm I feel that I'm holding myself back to make other people feel comfortable. So I'm keeping myself small to make other people feel comfortable because I have seen it in my life how my too muchness at times, my messiness at times, my bluntness at times, you can call it my light, you can call it my personality, you can call it whatever. It can be a bit too much for people at times. But I'm also constantly getting this message and you're like, oh, you're not keeping yourself small again. Because I have things to say, you know, and because I know I am here to help people and I really want to help people. And that's why I'm okay to share these experiences because I really hope by me sharing my stories, it's going to help some people who may be also in that story. But what I also want to show you is so the word timeline has been coming into my field a lot this week. I wanted to show you how every single one of us has the ability to create a different timeline. A timeline to me is I truly believe in this in any lifetime. We are constantly living in different scenarios. If you listen to a lot of the near death experiences, when we are on the other side, we actually see the different scenarios. It's called the final review of your life. And I truly believe that in any time and moment, we're all living different, like our spiritual self, our higher self, our infinite self is, here's the word infinite, continuously living different timelines. And it's really up to ourselves which experience that we choose. Do you want to choose this timeline where you're learning more? Or do you want to choose the other timeline where you're thriving and you are, contributing? So I truly believe when I had the failed marriage experience, let's just put it that way, it was the universe going, yes, okay, you're on this timeline and we believe you learned enough, but we want to accelerate your learning and jump you through a few timelines. And so they basically burned my life down for me. That's the easiest way to put it. They basically burnt my life down for me. And they go, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is a different path. And it's a bit like when you're on a runway, um, the path that you were on, you know how sometimes they will change runway due to weather conditions and they will light up, especially at nighttime, they light up the runway that the plane is meant to go. It's almost like the universe all of a sudden going, no, 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 the wind is too you don't have enough tailwind to lift you on this runway. So we're going to turn the light off and then we're going to show you a different path. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to allow you to get to your destination quicker. So what am I trying to say here? Because we all have different timelines, and I really want you to understand if 2024 has been a really rough year for you, I think 2025 is the year for you to make the decision and go, I'm going to create a different life here. 2025 is a 9 year. It's, endings and beginnings. It's consolidating. It's also got a celebration kind of vibe, I feel. So if you didn't like your life up until this point, and there's discomfort, this uneasiness, perhaps look at doing it differently. Perhaps look at asking God, source, universe, spirits, your guides, well, what does another path look like? What is a higher timeline look like? Like, there's no better or worse. Every timeline you have a different experience. But what is the experience? What is the scenario that is going to get you closer to your purpose? That is going to help you feel like you're living again? That is going to give you whatever positive feelings you want to feel? What is going to give you more joy, more abundance, more health, more wealth, more peace? Maybe. And then make it your challenge every single day to find bravery, to find courage, to overcome your fear, so you can be that better version of you. And if you can't find it within you, find a reason within you to do it. Like for me, the reason is not to go back to that version of me. The reason is George. The reason is my aging parent, Scott's aging parent. The reason is Scott. But the reason is also the communities that I am serving in. The elderlies that needed a retirement home that they could live their final years in, celebrating every moment. The reason is all the mums and dads out there that has been talking to me about their health and their wealth in 2024. All the mums and dads out there that wanted to create more freedom, more abundance for their family. Or the women out there that wanted to climb up the corporate ladder, but someone says to them, you're a mum. How do you juggle that? How are you meant to juggle this? I don't believe you can do it. And also all the naysayers that says you can't do all of these things. Watch me. And if there is a focus on this channeled message, and if I think this is the message that my guides want me to bring through in this first episode of 2025, is that find your reason. Whether it's to tell someone to F off and prove them wrong, or it's to help someone to create a better life. Find your reason. Find the courage to find your reason, and then find the courage to pursue your dream. And for those of you that are mums or dads out there, it's interesting. Lately, also, I have a lot of friends that are going through spousal, I'm going to call them spousal challenges, whether it's with an ex spouse or current spouse, um, or even, you know, spouse that are in the process of moving on to another relationship, who's moved on to another relationship. There seems to be a lot of angst, and there seems to be a lot of conflicts. And I said this in my story yesterday. I'm really sensing, so 2024 is an 8 year and 2025 is a 9 year. So 8 year is meant to be abundance, but we also have the dragon year in Chinese zodiac. So 2024 really, as an 8 year, it's about setting up all the things that will allow you the abundance of an 8 year, the prosperity of an 8 year, but you have to work for it. Especially when you have the dragon in play, the dragon's going to burn everything down. So anything that's not incongruent, anything that's not for your highest good, anything that is not going to bring you abundance is going to be burned down. And whenever we're going through this transformative phase, the people in our own timeline are going to try and come back and destroy that or drag us down, because it's scary for them that you're changing and they don't know whether they can stay in control of that. So they want to do everything to stay in control so they feel safe and secure in their own ways to keep you small. So if you're experiencing any of that, just know that 2025 is the year of ending, so more of that is coming. But in order to transition through this process with smoothness or less, I guess, argument, is to work on yourself. If there's anything I learned from 2024 is stay on your own lane, work on yourself. And if you have kids, I would say, again, find your reason. What would your kids love to see? What would your kids want to see? Your kids will want to see you thriving, and then they'll be like, oh, I love to be just like my mom, just like my dad, who worked on themselves and thrives to be the best version of them every single day. They may not be perfect, but they're doing their best every single day. Like, wouldn't you want that for your kids too? Wouldn't that be the thing that you want your kids to take away in life, is that you are the most important person in your life and your job is to be the best version of you every single day? If you hear like a baby crying, that's our cat Mono crying in the background, wanting some attention. So be the best version of you. Be the change that you want to see. Be what other people say is impossible, but what you truly believe in your heart. Don't do it just because you want to prove them wrong, but do it because in your heart, it feels right. In your heart, it feels like that's something that you wanted to do. In your heart, it feels congruent. In your heart, it feels like that will give you your highest version. In your heart, it will give you peace. It will give you harmony. It will give you purpose. It will give you drive. It will give you courage. It will give you a brave heart. Do that. Do that. And on that note, I think we're complete. um, I really feel like whenever I sense into what the message is for the collective for 2025, it really is about this whole heart opening your heart for more, opening to receive more. But most importantly, be oh, there we go. Most importantly, be the best version of you that you can be. "2024 was hard, but if you can be the best version of you every single day with dedication, with love, with compassion, with care, you will start to see light at the end of the tunnel." With that note, I feel complete. If there's anything that you would love me to expand on, if there's anything, any comment, any feedback, or if you simply just need someone to hear your story, please feel free to write to us. All the contact details are in the show note. And I look forward to share more stories, more love, more learnings, more of everything as I walk with you in 2025. Love you all so, so, so much. Happy New Year. And I look forward to talk to you guys again next time. Until next time, be the best that you can be. Bye.